Then we go to plant number 7, which is Valerinia officinalis. So the kingdom is Plantae, and the family is Caprifoliaceae, and the genus, of course, Valerinia, and species Valerinia officinalis. And this is a common name, garden valerian, because it is beautiful to be in the garden. That's why it takes such name. And the origin is Europe and Asia. And the genus Valerinia is a rather big genus also. It contains about 250 species. And the name of the herb is derived from the personal name Valeria and the Latin name verb Valerie, to be strong or healthy. So this is the main reason for it. And Valerinia officinalis, the medical uses and side effects. So it is insomnia, digestive problem, anxiety, epilepsy. So mainly Valeria is in central nervous system. It works and in stress and epilepsy. And the side effect is hepatotoxicity, and it interacts with other medications. The bioactive compound, and this is really interesting and something spectacular here, that it is very simple compound. However, it has really very potent activity. That's why it has been approved as a drug. So several substances have been considered responsible for the calming effect of valerian, and it's used as a sedative. Valeriaceae below is partially responsible for soothing smell. And this is a drug. The existed valerian, which is in the market, and dromby plant as well, which is valerinia extract, plus Melissia plant. And this is an example about using of plants as a crude extract for drug discovery. And then I go to Hypericum species. And this is rather famous. So when we talk about Hypericum, then we expect that it is depression, which is like, for example, from Hypericum perforatum. So Hypericum contains 370 species used in traditional medicine, and it belongs to Hypericum family. And Hypericum is a very well-known herb remedy. The extract, so again, it has been working with the extract, which is prepared with a vegetable oil, has a long reputation as anti-inflammatory, wound healing agent, and antidepressive activity, which is most spectacular for Hypericum. And the constituents, we will discuss the structures and the action and uses, that it is antiviral and the antidepressant, anti-anxiety, sleep disorders, etc. And the oil also used internally and externally as well. So from this Hypericum perforatum, they isolated hyperforin, which is this structure, and hypercin, and this is used in tumor cells, and also this one is sodium and the calcium absorbance, or activated the channels of both of them. And the bioflavonoid, so this is a flavonoid structure, and since it is two flavonoids, so we call it bioflavonoid. And the applications, the Hypericum formulates were sold about 8 billion Swedish krona during 2008. And this is used in mild distress and also in case of temporary insomnia, and it decreases the depression as well, which is this drug, as we will see the photo for such drugs here, as antidepressant as well as other ones. So the Hypericum creams as well is for injuries to areas that rich in nerves, such as finger tips, etc. And it is specific for injuries to the lower back. And the cream usually offer some relief. Then we go to the next plant, which is Digitalis species. And when we talk about Digitalis, then immediately we could say that it is cardiovascular diseases. So this is a Digitalis which is belonging to Plantagonaceae family, and the discovery by William an account this one for some of the medical uses. So, and this has been already used since 1740 for shortness of breath, which is the symptoms of heart failure, as I told you. So it is cardiovascular drugs, but also it used to allergic silicosis, good. I'm sorry. Then the Digitalis purpurea leaves and with white flowers, and this is Liliaceae in Europe. So poisoning symptoms include vomiting, diarrhea, visual changes, slower irregular pulse, tremors, and seizures. So this is the side effects, and this is the drugs existed in the market. And here, of course, when we talk about cardiovascular diseases and the digoxin, it is a steroidal compound, which is 3 6-membered ring and 1 5-membered ring. And here is, we call it lactone 5-membered ring, and this is connected with the sugar moieties. So this is, we call it steroid glycosides. So Digitalis purpurea, comparison between healthy uses and the disadvantages. So the healthy uses of Digitalis, it is weakness and relaxation of muscles, and the cardiovascular, of course, failure, and the slow pulse. The disadvantage is the therapeutic index is low, and the correct dose, the correct therapeutic blood level ranges are uncertain sometimes, and it has many interactions, as I told you before in the earlier plant. Then we go to another plant. I think you know it. Many of you know this plant quite well. It's rather famous, which is opium, Opium somniferarum, and it is a narcotic plant, of course. And the history is that of this plant, this is one of the oldest plant has been identified by so the first opium is from the Greek opium, meaning poppy juice. Babaver is from the Latin name, this one, for the poppy, and somniferarum is the Latin meaning to produce sleep. So this is how they put the Latin name. The alkaloid found in opium poppy or Babaveracea has long been used to alleviate pain. The capsules have been found in prehistoric deposits from the Mediterranean and from the Near East. Of course, it has been found first by Egyptian and Greek, Roman, and others. Opium was used to treat dysentery from the least the 1st century BC. The wild ancestor of the plant is no longer known with certainty. The Babaver somniferarum or opium the only known source in the world with the ability to produce morphine. This is why they classify it as narcotic. Of course, morphine, as we usually say, it is double-edged weapon because it is very good after big surgical operations and so on. So this is the positive side, but the negative side is addiction. And the addiction, as you know, it goes very fast with regular use. So the genus Papaver, family Papaveraceae, includes about 50 species spread over Europe, Asia, and North America. So the traditional used when it has been discovered in earlier time is to treat cough. And this used to treat intestinal stomach spasms and respiratory spasms triggered by asthma attack. So this is the first, when they use it at first time, and also to treat diarrhea and abdominal cramping, which we call it relax involuntary muscles. And then here, this is the first isolated compound, morphine, in 1803 years. And then rather recently, it has been characterized also. So codeine was isolated in 1832 and Papaverine in 1848. So this is painkiller, potentiating, of course, anti-tussive and anticonvulsant, Papaverine. So this is the structure of Papaverine, and it is more for muscles, while narcotine, as you know, it is more working like equal to codeine, and it is works more in the central nervous system. That's why we have to be very careful about the dose, and it is not recommended at all for the children. And this, I choose this picture for you to see about drug interaction and the side effects. So the side effects, for example, for codeine, if it is with narcotic antagonists, it can make this side effects like constipation, nausea, vomiting, etc. But some side effects don't need any medical attention really. As your body gets used to medicine, these side effects disappears after a while. So this is the solution of morphine as opium. When it comes to the side effects, you can use such a drug. And then we go to Belladonna. I think also many of you know Belladonna as anesthesia. So it has this nice color. That's why they call it, it is deadly nightshade. So it is medicinal plant that it is belonging to the Solanaceae family, and it is poisonous plant, but it has been known by Italian like beautiful woman. That's why many of you know it as well. It refers to the fact that the juice from the barrier used in Italy in olden time as a beauty preparation. But of course it has been also anti-cholinergic syndromes. And this is the history of uses of the plant, and it is used in traditional medicine as a headache, inflammation, etc. And then the drug interaction, we should remember again that in case of it combined with atindol and digoxin, it has a side effects, and the central nervous system effects of atropine, including memory disturbantion, which may lead to severe confusion and hallucination. So this is a problem of the effect when it included also blurred vision and dilated pupils. So it affects the eyes in general when it has these drug interactions. And this is the bioactive compound of belladonna. It is also rather simple compound because it's just aromatic connected with an alkaloid ring. And this is the atropine, which is used as adjunct for anesthesia, as of course racemic positive negative because it has stereo carbon atoms. And the other two compounds as well, it is levoisomer here as well for gastrointestinal disorder, and the scopolamine, which is used as anesthetic prediction in urinary incontinence, in motion sickness, and as anti-spasmodic. And this is an examples of belladonna drugs which is existing in the markets here, and it is used to treat rigidity, excessive salivation, etc. And it's also motion sickness. And the overdose, of course, lead to headache, the opposite effect, the dry mouth, difficulty, etc., etc. Then we go to cannabis, and it is again narcotic. Then usually when we go to narcotic, then we should expect that it covers severe pain. So this is a shape of cannabis, and it is small genus with only 3 species, and they belonging to Cannabaceae family, together with hop. And this is a shape of different species of cannabis. So, and it known as in India as gingia, in North Africa as kef, and in East Africa as dagia, etc. And the traditional uses that it is analgesic for rheumatoid pain, etc. And it is approved by and as anti-cancer as well. And again, you can see that it is so simple compound. And this is here the 10 conditions for treating which has been approved. And this is showed you the medical uses of the cannabis. Then application and the bioactive compound. So this is a bioactive compound, and this is the second one. And here it is the symptoms which is related to muscle rigidity, also specificity in multiple sclerosis. Then I am going with you to the last plant species, which is Ephedra. And the Ephedra is one of the 3 genera of the small family Gentiaceae. And I think some of you also know Ephedra because it has a compound which is works in the CNS, in the central nervous system, in similar effect of the famous compound amphetamine. So the description that it is the main ingredient of asthmatic drugs, which is derived from this Chinese name. That's why we call it used Chinese medicine. And this is the uses or the application: fever, asthma, difficulty of breathing, etc. And then the part used is the stems. So this is important also to mention that when you work with medicinal plants, sometimes it's a good idea to study each part of the plant separated. This could help in finding the more active compound is in a more effective way. And the active constituents are alkaloid, ephedrine, which is a major one. It's ephedrine, comes from the species again, and it is benzodiazepine, etc. And the ephedrine is structurally related to amphetamine, and that's why it causes central nervous system stimulation. And this is the dosage, of course, and this is how they prepare it as a crude powdered drug. So again, you can see how much important to find drugs from plants. And this is the clinical uses of ephedra. It is weight loss, bronchodilator, energy, anti-inflammatory, etc. It also has a commonly reported symptoms. This is as a toxicity side effect is mainly hepatitis, nephritis, death, seizures, which is affect the renal. So mainly it has really severe symptoms in toxicity. This is a contraindicators of ephedrine alkaloids. Of course, that it is high blood pressure, gastric ulcers, active heart diseases, pregnancy. So you cannot use the species if you have suffering from any of these. And the bioactive compound is lucky who discovered it, because it is rather simple, very simple compound, ephedrine, and benzodiazepine and adrenaline. So this is the only different here is the stereochemistry is alpha and beta, or minus plus. After this literature, we should ask ourselves, which is better? Is to have the treatment, or from the beginning prevention is better? So if we look to our daily dietary intake, we might find a solution before we get the disease. That's why we work in this area, which is, we call it food chemistry. And this is an example, is the biosciences, natural sources, dietary intake, which is our work, pharmacokinetic properties, your study, and biological activities of hydroxycinnamic acid. We had been a good team to work in such a paper between natural product, medical, pharmacognosy, pharmacology, etc. What we have been abbreviated in this work is our daily life, eating and drinking. So, for example, drinking coffee is very good per day. About 1 to 2 cups is very good as anti-Alzheimer, which has been recently approved. Also eating vegetables and the fruits. Why? Because it is anti-Alzheimer, anti-cardiovascular, and anti-cancer. These are the most scary diseases. So we found out that it contains a very simple compound, which is aromatic cinnamic acid. So benzene with double bond, it means it is cinnamic acid. And we have here different hydroxy groups. That's why we call it hydroxycinnamic acids. And we found out that drinking coffee, you get chlorogenic acid, one of these. And cereals, you get paracoumaric acid. So if you eat this one, for every 100 gram, it contains 300 milligram of paracoumaric acid. This is just an example. And eating strawberries, it contains coumaric acid. That's why in Sweden, I think you have a very good culture here that you are focused on eating healthy food. That's why I call it 100% natural. And I cross this one here, which you call it junk food. All these are junk food. Why? I think after this lecture, you should explain to the others why. Because for this healthy food, it contains this type of natural compounds, which is very healthy. So if you go this way, I think this will be the end. However, if you go this way, this will be the end. So you have to choose what you likes. And by the end of this, I think also you agree with me that we need each other. We need plant materials from the countries which are rich and have a diverse flora, diversity in flora, like in the Middle East, Latin America, etc. But we need also Europe, America, Japan, with art of techniques of highly sophisticated infrastructures in order to go together and that we work together for a common objective and to find a drug from nature. With this, I really thank you so much, and I show you the very beautiful Sweden, which we all like Sweden because it contains such green and lovely weather during summer. But in winter, this is also in summer, very, very beautiful. However, in winter, we still can enjoy with the snow. And I ended my lecture with my home country, Egypt, with the great pyramids and the great history. With this, I must say you, thank you very much for your kind attention. Hisham El-Seedi, March 8, 2019, Pharmacy Group at Uppsala University in Sweden.